whatever I have been hearing today since morning, saw so many amazing entrepreneurs, so many mentors talking. I think our segment where we work as a company is a segment where probably all of us have forgotten about. That's a India which probably is not defined by any tier. Most probably everything we talked about today is a subset of the consumer that we are serving today. So we service in an area where all the legacy brands, and Rishabh sitting here, I'm complaining to him also. So mostly all the legacy brands have not been able to serve that consumers like they deserve. And when we talk about Gen Z, when we talk about Instagram, or when we talk about tech adoption, the meaning of everything changes. But fundamentally, human beings are same. Like you would have an aspiration, I would have an aspiration. The consumer living in villages also has the same aspiration. We have alluded very well in agricultural space for that consumer, but in any other segment, not in fashion, not in shoes, not in cosmetics, not in food, we have not understood that consumer fundamentally at all. So because they're aspirational, they end up buying whatever we make for them. Just like Sumant mentioned, that a company will make a product and eventually it will go to that particular consumer. But we have not understood the need of that consumer at all. So we as entrepreneurs, as industries, I think need to know that consumer a little more. So what is the meaning of technology for them? What is the meaning of a product that they consume? The taste profiles of that consumer? How will they have access to that particular product? Are so far away from our imagination that we have not touched the consumer at all. So it is such an underserved consumer. So when we talk about aspiration, yeah, their aspiration, just like every human being is. So like I was giving you some data points. Generally, I keep on giving some very nice examples from what I see in villages every day. I like to quote a couple of them. We did a small experiment on cosmetics last year. The highest selling product was a red lipstick. We got stumped by the kind of reaction we got from all the villages ki red lipstick chahiye yaar. We never thought ki red lipstick will become such a crazy product. I quote it so often. Another example, we launched macaroni there. Pehle Maggi launch kiya tha. Maggi couldn't give us enough supply of the product, so we asked our consumer, will you try macaroni? Macaroni became one of the highest selling products in the category within a quarter. So whatever we give to the consumer, last year we were selling staples and we were selling non-branded products. We suddenly changed and we thought, let us attempt to sell some branded products. We immediately started with branded products and we realized our sales went from non-branded to branded just as per the availability. If we make available product A starts selling. If we make product B available, product B starts selling. So irrespective of branded, unbranded, initially our mindset was probably they will buy only cheaper product, only staples. That completely changed as soon as we introduced new brands to those consumers, new products to those consumers. So yes, the aspirations, in my opinion, it is intrinsic to human being and they will be as much aspirational as you and I will be.
That is true.
The consumer is absolutely same. It's just that we have not made products to them and
That's
we have
true.
deprived them of the opportunity, and that's why I feel is the only reason we feel ki now the consumer has become aspiration. Probably we are reaching out to the consumer for the first time. That's the consumer we service.
I completely agree with what Ankur has to say. I think with respect to rural India, tier 3 towns, tier 2 towns, we at Flucon realized very early that they also have aspirations. They also want their kids to have healthy, yummy, delicious ice creams, food products, beverages, and it's not just tier 1 or the metros who want it. So the obvious problem is of accessibility, which we'll discuss in a bit, but I'll give you a couple of examples with respect to product innovation in two different categories. When we think about flavors in ice cream such as chili guava, sitafal, blueberry, banana caramel, the obvious imagery that comes to mind is a nice parlor in Bangalore or Bombay or Delhi. How do we make this accessible to a consumer in Junjunu, Meerut, Agra, and whether we understand that the consumer there aspires to try all of these flavors? We have cappuccino chocobar, which is present in every deep freezer in small towns of tier 1, tier 2, tier 3 and rural India. So it is very obvious that it is a question of accessibility and providing the right product, which in a specific cities in a parlor format, providing it in a consumer format in a smaller SKU to that consumer. We talk about guilt-free ice creams and whey-based ice creams. So that that consumer is evolving, but that's still a niche consumer. I feel there is a big part of India who just wants ice cream. Give us delicious, yummy ice creams. We'll worry about the guilt a bit later. I think as long as we can answer that question, we can provide those SKUs in some shape and form. I think that's a big problem to solve. So post COVID, obviously this health based, immunity based, all of that, all of you are aware of. I'll talk about one specific category, lassi. So I'm from Jaipur, and if you come to Jaipur and you ask someone, where do I get lassi? He'll say, go to MI Road and there's this lassi wala. So that entire sector till a few years back was still unorganized. Now you will see some players with a plain sweet lassi. In the last few months, there are multiple flavors that you will see, but that as a category, lassi as an entire category, is still at a very nascent stage. It is still evolving. It is still growing. It was largely unorganized. So now we developed mixed berry lassi, strawberry lassi, and mango lassi, and it is getting a fantastic consumer response. But then the question is, what is the challenge if we have to place this in a tier 3 town or a tier 2 town? The challenge comes from cold chain. That the cold chain is still not that strong. So there are two ways to solve it. One, the cold chain part, which we'll address later. On the product side, what we are trying to do is increase the shelf life of products where we can. By increasing that shelf life, we are trying to address that problem of accessibility of perishable products to these consumers in tier 2 or tier 3 towns. So